I spoke to this guy recently. He rang, I say fair, recently, beginning of the year. And he rang me up, and people do from time to time, and they say, I'm thinking about going on the CX, and I ask them a load of questions. Have you got family? Have you got dependents? What's your financial situation? And then I'll give them my honest opinion. I'll go, it's a yes or no. There's nothing in it for me, So anyway, in this guy's particular instance, it was a definite yes. The whole where he was based, how he was working, how he was relying on work. I said, mate, after everything you told me, I'd be mad not to. And he's jumped on. He's doing okay. And we've been talking a bit. It's kind of nice. We're on the road. We have a chat. It's nice. Anyhow, he said, I'd like to tell people about it, because to be honest with you, I'm out of touch with this. I've been on the CX now for, I don't know, I lose track, 3 years, something like that. I'm now in lorries. People ask me questions about small vans. I tell them about small vans or Luton vans. And then you could turn around and go, well, how do you know? You ain't doing it no more. You drive around in your 18 ton. You don't know. So I said, well, mate, if you got time, because he works pretty hard to stick it in, and he has. He's written me an email. So what I'm going to do, and I think that this could be good, not for everybody. I'm going to write my email address down, actually. Let's remember to do that. I'm going to take testimonials, and I'll read them. And don't get me wrong, I will read them. And if you tell me that it's the greatest thing since sliced bread and you're earning £1 million a day, or if you're saying that I was on it for 3 days and it single-handedly bankrupted my country, I'm going to go, But if it strikes me that it's on the money, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, tell me about your stories on the CX. I'll read the email out, and then people that are thinking of joining can get an honest, I like to try and give people a bit of background information. Anyway, this is from Luke Jennings. Hello, mate. How are you? This is what he says. He said, here's my testimonial on the CX and how I've been getting on. He said, I joined the CX in mid-January this year, 2022, and I can honestly say I don't regret it in the slightest. I wanted to get in a haulage for quite a while, and finally I've made the jump. I saved up a fair bit of money to get me going, and I'll list the cost below. Hopefully this will help your viewers to see, as the general starting up with the experience can seem very daunting as well as exciting. My hire and reward insurance cost me 3k. My goods in transit came to 150 quid. Membership to the CX cost, I love this, £1,618.69. Yeah. Whew. I did also put quite a few grand away to cover my bills, fuel for a few months. Van prices will vary a lot for people, but I paid around 5k for my Luton. He's a mechanic, by the way, so it helps. It's an older vehicle, but remains in good condition, and I thoroughly look after it. This is the front of business, and after all, albeit some people saying a newer van may make you look better, but this is all I could afford. Besides, I prefer older vehicles. This is a personal preference, of course. I presume being a mechanic, they're probably easy to repair because you don't need computers and stuff. Unfortunately, my Luton is not ULEZ compliant, so I do have to pay to enter the zones, but I try to avoid London if I'm honest. Even if I did have a Euro 6, I would still be charging the ULEZ fee, as you have to fork out the extra to get the Euro 6 compliant. Work out how many times you go into London. Is it really worth it? I don't go into London anywhere near enough to justify the big bucks to get myself a Euro 6. So work-wise, on the CX can vary from day to day. Nothing is guaranteed. You could have a fantastic day on Monday, but a terrible Tuesday, and then an average Wednesday. Starting out in the CX is tough. You don't have any feedback, and you may need to quote ever so slightly cheaper to get some jobs coming in, just to get out there and earn yourself that precious feedback. Now, I'm not talking dirt cheap prices. I'm talking I knock a little bit off, and that's it. Have your bottom line and stick to it. Work out your costs and what you're happy to work for. One of Pete's famous saying is, you do you. It is one of my sayings. Right, I'm going to have to knit this one together, because just so I got halfway through, the guy came out with me paperwork, so I'm just going to quickly do it. I'm just going to have to do this now. So where was we? Right, you do you. So this is me carrying on with Luke's testimonial. My working hours are typically this. I start around 8:30 to 9 a.m. and I'll get back in anywhere between 1:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Once I'm back, then I'll then start the invoices just to keep on top of them. Just to add, I'm 27 and single with no kids, etc., and I can do these hours. Now, I do need to clarify that I'm not driving for the entire duration. Yes, I do long hours driving, but I know my limit. I will not endanger myself or others driving tired. I feel this is really important, Pete, so please read this bit out. I have. During these hours I mentioned above, I could potentially bag 5, maybe 6 jobs, but I do spend some time parked up searching for other jobs, and sometimes I just stretch my legs and grab snacks. The hours are long, but I am very determined to make this work, and I have my goals I want to achieve. I am not looking to stay a one-man band either. I'd like to progress, have my own clients and employ drivers. Part of the reason I'm wanting to employ drivers down the line is because I'd like to be able to expand, but more importantly, I'd like to be able to pay good money to my drivers. We all have bills and mouths to feed. If I can pay a driver a good wage, I'd feel a good person. Many think the CX is just a backload platform, but I see it as an overflow platform. Shipper takes on a job, shipper can't cover it, so it goes on the CX. Yes, really, you will have your shippers who want to pay peanuts, but you do have to remember sometimes the money just isn't in the job for them to be able to give you what you want. Then on the other hand, sometimes they have big money in the job and you can get a tidy sum of money. I'll ring the shipper, introduce myself and come across as an approachable person. Have a laugh, ask them how their day is going, etc. We're all human. I get near enough all my work from the CX, eggs in one basket, as they say. I do aim to get my own clients, but it's quite difficult to do so now. I solely rely on the CX and a couple of furniture websites. However, Shipley, for example, I just can't compete with some of the ridiculous prices on there. It can be good to keep an eye on the prices, but prices are dirt cheap on that site. So back to the CX. I built up some good relationships with a few shippers, and I can often give them a call to see if there's anything going on. An ideal example of that is my last run of the day. I get along with the shipper. He gets a regular run. I get along with the shipper well, and will often get a run that pretty much takes me to my doorstep. If it so happens that the run takes me home isn't available, the one that takes me home isn't available, I'll ask what else is going on. A, it's keeping the shipper happy and I'm earning a reputation of being reliable. B, it's a job. Of course, do the job for what you want. You can't run at a loss just to keep someone happy. If you're willing to put the hours in, you can earn a decent wage from the CX. But that being said, make sure you keep an eye on your invoice deadlines and do not run at a loss. Fuel has gone through the roof and it makes a big difference to your profit margins. I'm finding these first few months are tough because even though you're starting to get out there and earn money, you've got to remember that it can take up to 30 days to see, if not more. Always read the shipper's payment terms. Before I wrap this up, I do need to thank Pete for all his advice. He has given me, along with the video, puts in you, Sarah Diamond. Luke. Thanks, Luke. Yeah, lovely. Right, so I know the guys on the, well, I mean, he could be right, he could be lying. He could be ringing me and lying to me, but I know he's not. I'm pretty sure he's not. So if you have experience on the CX, if I've told you or you've watched my videos and thought I'm going to join this and you've had an absolute disaster, or if you've been like Luke, or if you've been doing it for a little while, or if it started well for you and it hasn't wound up for you, if you want to do me a little email, now bear in mind it might take me a while to get around to these things because I'm not Mr. Email, and if you've spoke to me in the past on Facebook or you spoke to me in the past on Messenger and I haven't got back to you, there's a reason for that. I don't do these things. The best way to get to me is either to write it in the comments, because I have to read the comments, because I read the comments every Friday or Saturday to do Sunday Q&A, or I say send it me on an email. Comments are probably better in fairness, but if you send it me on an email, I will eventually pick it up. So that is my email address, more digital there, petercoath@live.co.uk. That's my personal email address. So if you want to send me an email address of what life was like for you on the CX, whether it panned out good, bad or indifferent, I shall read them out and I'll stick it in a little box. We can do playlists on YouTube now, I'm getting better at this, called Testimonials, and anybody who wants to read, and it's not from me, I'm just going to, like I say, it's just what people write into me. So let's see how it goes. In the meantime, Luke, thanks mate, and I'm pleased he's working out for you. He's a good boy, I like him, he's nice. So right, I've got to go and take care. Take money.